guys, and welcome to this episode of Keep It Positive, Sweetie. I'm Renee Hayslett, and today I have with me my cousin. Oh my gosh, Will Packer.
What's
guys,
happening?
I'm good.
Like
How
we
are you?
actually got like real cousins. You know, black people, just everybody is
Everybody
a
has
cousin.
it, yeah.
But no, we actually, my wife
Yes.
is, her maiden name is Heather Hayslett.
Yes.
So they actually are cousins. There's
Yes.
real family here.
Real
So,
family,
yeah,
that's
we
right.
Real cousins.
Oh.
Not like all the rest of y'all.
You
that's
know, because y'all be
sorta
calling
cousins.
anybody cousin.
Absolutely. Inviting everybody to the cookout. Everybody y'all cousins. This fam for real right here. How you
That's
doing?
right. I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm really, really good.
Good. Thank you for stopping
blessed.
by.
Come on, absolutely.
Yeah.
You was down the street. I was like, "What you doing?"
Right.
We ain't playing none of this. I
Pull
was
up.
just driving by. I was like, "What you doing?" She's like, "Pull up, pull up." They put a mic on me and it's light, so I was like, "You know what? Let's do it. See what happens."
I love it. Thank you. I
Of course.
appreciate that. I
Thanks for
appreciate
inviting
that.
me.
Absolutely. No, I called you when we were deciding to do season 2, and I was like, well, I really want to have you on. You were like, I'm there, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
The whole series came about because my manager's like, I think it's time for you to do a podcast. And I was like, is my voice? I don't really feel like I have that much to say because I don't really talk that much. I talk, you know what I'm saying, to people I'm comfortable with, but like just talking to cameras, unless it's scripted, I really didn't feel like I have much to say. And it has been this amazing journey. So many people healing and laughing and all the things every single week. So I'm super excited about how it's come along. And I was like,
And can I ask you, keep it positive?
Yes.
Like, what is that about? Tell me a
Okay.
little bit.
So backstory, a little story time. Some of you guys may know this, but when I first moved into this house, I had a young lady who helped me organize. She organized my closet, and I posted it because I like to support people in their businesses. And this girl was like, instead of showing off all your bags and purses and all this stuff, you need to go buy some land and some other things. And I was like, who says I don't have that? So I had time, and normally I had time today.
That day.
I did.
Okay.
And my little fingers got to texting, and at the end of it, I said, hashtag keep it positive, sweetie. And it just ran. Like all my fans were like, keep it positive, sweetie, keep it positive. So we were gonna do just a segment of the show because we were gonna call it Abundant Living with Renee. And I was like, we should do like a segment like keep it positive just to spread positivity. And they were like, no, that's the name of the show.
I like it.
So keep it
like
positive,
it.
that's how I came, yeah.
And I also love how you took something that was negative, could have been negative.
Yeah.
That somebody was trying to be negative, right?
True.
Somebody was trying to clap a little bit. And now, look at this platform.
Look, and to
So
that
we
we
want
say
to
thank
you,
you.
little negative sister, wherever you at, or brother, whatever. You know, we appreciate you.
We sure do.
Helping to give birth to this, to a great idea for a platform. You already had the platform. but
Yeah.
I love the fact you are using your voice, though.
Thank you.
And in the name of positivity. We need more of that.
We do.
Yeah.
We live in such a negative world, and you get on Instagram or Twitter, turn on the news, everything is so negative.
Yeah. For
You
real.
know, so just that
And
light.
especially in the position you're in, right? And you know, me a little bit too, but you being, you know, like out in front, consumer facing, in front of the cameras, you know, me being behind, what I respect about you and your peers, you guys are constantly putting yourselves out there for judgment.
Whew, talk about it.
Not just your characters, not just the roles,
Yes.
not just your shows and projects and movies, but also yourself personally, because these days, you know, our amazing consumers and fans don't often know the difference. Don't care to know the difference. Try to combine it all one. You're just a persona, right?
That's it, yeah.
And as you know, you and I know that that's such a complete separation. The roles you may play, the characters you play, what you even may have to do to even like, you know, promote a project.
Yeah.
May be very different than who you are personally.
Yes.
But a lot of times, you know, folks don't give people like you grace for that.
They don't.
want it all to be one thing. They want it to be perfect. When they see you,
Yes.
they want to see you exactly the way that they see you after you've gone through hair, makeup, and wardrobe
Yes.
and reading scripted lines. That
Oh
is
my
exactly
gosh.
what they want in their minds.
That is it. And it
Yeah.
gets so heavy, Will.
Yeah.
It gets so heavy. August was a really heavy month for me, and I just had to delete my Instagram.
Did you really?
Yes, I had to just completely detach myself from the world because all these, like, everybody needs something. Everybody's like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that? Or it's all these opinions and we need more of this. We need more of that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just one person.
Yeah.
And it's almost like they feel like they own you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to talk about the time we first met.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this. Stomp the Yard 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I was an extra.
You're an extra Stomp Yard too? What?
I was an extra in Stomp the Yard 2. I feel like it was like November, December. It was cold, or it was early part. Whenever it was cold outside.
Okay.
And I was sitting under a tent. It was raining that day. All the extras were sitting outside under a tent. We're just all sitting. I remember exactly what I had on that day.
Really?
I had on a burnt orange suede BB jacket.
Okay. Okay.
Dating myself. But I had a BB jacket on, and this production assistant came outside and said, "Orange jacket, come here." And I was like, "Me?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay." So I walk inside. We're in Pooch Hall's house, like I guess the frat house. And you and Rob Hardy were there.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, we're going to use you as Pooch Hall's girlfriend. He's a senior in college. He doesn't have a girl. So everywhere we see Pooch from this point on in the film, you'll be there. And I was like, okay, cool. And that was the first time, because I'd been just trying to get my foot in the door, just doing background work everywhere I could in the city. And this is when what year was that? Was that 2012, 10 or 12? When did Stomp the Yard?
Ooh, 2000. You know what's crazy is that I had not too long started dating Heather.
Exactly. We're going to get to
that
that.
time.
Yeah.
So that had to be 10, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the industry was really just getting popping here in Atlanta, the film industry.
Yes.
So I was doing background work, just trying to get in.
Okay.
That was the first time I actually felt seen in the industry.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, okay.
It was that orange BB jacket.
It was the orange. Listen, I need to go find that jacket. I should have saved that jacket. But it was that moment where I was like, okay, there's something here. If I'm getting asked to do this, I know I can do more.
Yes.
And then fast forward to Think Like a Man 1.
Okay.
It was a small role in the beginning. Tika Sumter ended up doing it. But I had flew out to LA. Me and Shayla had gotten cool.
Okay.
And I flew out to LA to audition with Harden. Is it Kim Harden?
Kim Harden.
Kim Harden.
Yes, she was the casting
I was
director.
horrible. It was so bad.
Were you really horrible?
I was so nervous.
See, now you at the level you at now, so you can look back and be honest.
It'd be like it was bad. It was so
what
bad.
was it? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was when Michael Ealy was like trying to date girls, or he kept interviewing, the girls kept changing at the table.
Okay, and it was one of them was Tika Sumter. That's so interesting because that was before Ride Along, and Tika was in Ride Along.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it was so short
scene.
In the very beginning.
But it made the movie. It's in the cut.
It made the
It's in
movie, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It made the movie.
So after Stomp the Yard 2, and shout out to Stomp the Yard 2 and that crew, Rob Hardy, and R.I.P. to Twitch. Amazing actor and choreographer who some of you may be aware passed away. But after that, then when you flew to LA to audition, was it did Kim request you to come? Was it open and you knew about it? You were like, how did you end up?
I think that was Shayla. Shout out Shayla Count.
Yeah. Shayla Count set that.
Yeah, because I was doing music, and me and Shayla had gotten really cool. I feel like this is
now, were you doing makeup then?
No, I was just doing music.
Got it.
Music and trying to act.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And Shayla's like, we have this small role. You should come out.
Acting came before makeup.
Yeah, makeup is just what I like to do.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just do that for fun.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Styling, I should say.
Styling,
I'm
yes.
sorry. I apologize.
That's okay, yeah.
Makeup came before you were styling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you.
And I actually started styling because I was trying to be around what I wanted to do.
Smart.
Yeah.
Very smart. By the way, listen to that, right? Because it's not always that you can just jump in at the position that you want to.
You can't.
But you put yourself in the proximity, in the orbit.
Yes.
You were excellent. You showed your greatness, which is a thing of mine. I always say, show your greatness. And so you showed your greatness, and look at you now. But you put yourself. Some people would have said, I don't want to do anything but this one singular vision that I have. And you didn't do that. And it sounds like that benefited you. So
it did. It really did. And working behind the scenes, doing costuming, costume designing, really helped me understand the entire production.
Yes.
So I have a different
Smart.
perspective as an actor. I
Smart.
understand the lighting guy, I understand the camera guy, I understand set deck.
Yes.
I understand the grips. Everything that's going on,
Yeah.
I understand what time they got that morning to make it happen for us.
Got you.
So
Absolutely, because that was you. You had to be there before everybody else in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, so
no, you're the best type of actor and actress because you not just have empathy, but have a full understanding of what everybody else does.
Yeah.
I feel that same way. Like, I have literally done every job on a film set. I have held the lights. I have done craft service. I have boomed, whatever it was.
Yeah.
In my early productions, I had to.
Yes.
But it gives me a different level of, number one, it makes me smart in my job and what I do, right? Like, you know, you can't, like, get over me and tell me, you know, that these, you know, lights cost something that I know they don't cost, because I was the one that actually rented the lights when I first started.
Exactly.
But then also, it also gives me a better connection with the crew. And a film, you know, set is a crew. It's a family. Everybody's working together. It's a team. And it's like any team sport. You need everybody working together if you're going to win. So anyway, you having that that perspective absolutely helps you as a performer, but also I'm sure your crews love you.
Because I get it. I totally get it.
You get it. Exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
Yo, that's so crazy. All right, so Stomp the Yard, which I did not know.
Yes.
And then Audition for Think Like a Man, which I did not know.
Yes.
Today I learned. Okay, all right. And you don't think you did very well on that.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Los Angeles on the lot.
Yeah.
Like, going to this office, I'm like, what? How did I even get here? And my heart was literally pounding.
I feel you.
Oh.
But
and
can
now
I tell you something? We did for Think Like a Man, because now you're making me think about that process. And remember, Lala is in Think Like a Man, also Think Like a Man 2, but she comes in and she's Megan Good's friend. Yeah. Right? She auditioned for that role. And I knew La, and not sure if she knew the director, Tim Story, but she and I were cool. We're much closer even now. But she was so nervous. And I actually haven't even told her story. She was so nervous that she's auditioning, and she's standing up in an audition that we're doing, and the producer directors are in it. So maybe she'd already done a round with the casting director, and now it was the round with me and with Tim. And she's so nervous that her leg was shaking the whole time. So she's trying to read the lines, and because she's shaking, her voice is like, because her leg is going so, and I just kept saying, baby, calm down, right?
That was me.
I said, relax, you got this all. So my point is that it gets everybody, because it's hard. You know, y'all see the end result, but it's tough. You got to go in a room in front of these people that are, in effect, judging you. Yes. And just like that, turn it on. Let's go. If you haven't done it a million times, you know, if you're new in it, it's okay to be nervous. It hits everybody. So anybody watching this that's going through a moment, whether you're trying to be an actress, actor, or audition or interview for a new job, it's okay. The nerves will be there. You just do the best you can to fight through it. Like, how did you get over that whole nervousness?
Hey guys, if you know me, you know that I'm super big on health and what I put inside my body. I've been known as the vitamin lady, the supplement girl, probiotics girl, all the things. But recently I started taking AG1, and that has eliminated all of that. I get everything I need in one scoop. And even with my crazy travel schedule, they have these to-go packs that I can take, just throw them in my bag so I never miss a day. Guys, this tastes so good. When I take it, I feel so much better. It has immunity support, gut health support. It even helps with my mind and clarity. It's really all the things that I need in just one simple drink. If you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/Kips. That's drinkag1.com/Kips. Check it out. You know what? Honestly, it was acting classes, and it was just learning how to break down a character and taking Crystal out of it. Okay. Because I think what I was trying to do was bring Crystal to every character. Okay. And I had to remove myself from it and really just figure out who this character was. And when I did that, it was like, okay, this is way easier than I thought. Yes. You know? Yes. But it took really just learning how to break down a character and really turn into that person versus trying to be Crystal. Got you. Yeah. Got you. Yeah. And now it's easier. It's like, I don't get nervous anymore. Like, the first, you know what I'm saying, when I go to set, now it's fun, you know. Even like I worked on, this is how God work, y'all.
Come on, tell it.
So last summer, I get a call, and they're like, we got this role. Think you'd be great for it. It's a Will Packer movie. I'm like, you had me at Will Packer. What's it? And they were like, it's a first lady playing opposite of Mac Wiles. I was like, okay, that's my dog, perfect. And so they like, she sings too, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So this is how God works. I started off as an extra, and then many years later, after I did the work, then I got my own role in a movie with Will Packard.
Yes,
amazing.
That you earned it.
Yes,
and had it, and they had to audition or nothing. And people just called you and said, "Do you want to do it?"
Period.
But you earned that.
Listen,
years later.
That's amazing.
Like, that is amazing.
When I say
God
full circle,
great.
he is.
Yeah.
That was a full circle moment. And working on set with you and your team. Shout out Shayla.
Yes.
Shout out Tina Gordon.
Yes.
The cast of praises. Everybody. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, it was. That was a fun movie.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's how I remember us meeting.
I'm so glad you said that because I didn't remember. And I thought you were going to ask me where we met. And I was about to make up something. I was definitely going to be like, it was probably Club 112 in the VIP.
Where the players do
We doing shots and no. I did not know it was Stomp the Yard too. That's great. That's taking me back.
Yeah. And then Shayla called me one night, Halloween.
And that was Shayla's first time working for me.
What?
On Stomp the Yard 2. So Shayla, Stomp the Yard 2. Shayla was the extra, she worked in the extras department. Like she was the PA that was saying, hey, Orange Jacket, come on. On Stomp the Yard 1.
Wow.
On the first Stomp the Yard, that is where I met Shayla but didn't really meet Shayla because she was a part of the crew.
Yeah.
But she worked in the extras department. And so after that, between then and Stomp the Yard 2, she was working for somebody else, and like I would just see her around Atlanta. Then she was available and got hired. So that movie was also the first time that she was working for me as my assistant.
Wow. And
now she's off and, co-producing the Oscars and
Baby,
stuff. So.
Shayla is popping.
Yes.
I'm so proud of her.
No question.
Woo, my girl is doing her thing.
Yeah, she is her.
Yeah, that's amazing. She called me one night. It was Halloween, and she said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." She said, "Me and my boss and his girlfriend are going out. If you want to come out with us." I was like, "Okay." So I dressed up as a boxer that night. I was You're like,
we all hung out on Halloween one night.
This is when I found out Heather was my cousin.
Where was this?
We were.
We got all this history.
Yes.
Found it out on film. So tell me about where we go in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, I feel like it was a club in Midtown. We were in a section. I cannot remember the name of the club.
I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Now.
I came in and I was a boxer or a bunny. One of those.
Okay. Those are two very different approaches to Halloween.
I think it was a boxer.
Okay.
And I met up with Shayla and we went and Heather and I were talking and she was like, "Yeah, my name is Heather Hayslett." And I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Hayslett." And I was like, "That's my last name." And she was like, "Oh my God." And that's when we found out we were related. I was like, "Oh my goodness." And then you married her and the rest has been history.
The rest is history. Changed my life.
Listen.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
I love it. Y'all
close.
y'all just
Don't tell
celebrate.
I said that though, because she from
already
Memphis.
knows.
And so it's a lot. It's a lot. But she is the best thing that ever happened.
I love that.
Absolutely. Changed my life. That's awesome.
Love it, yeah.
But you knew us when? You knew us back when we was dating.
Back when, yeah. Y'all just celebrated 8 years anniversary.
Yes,
How do you manage? 'Cause I know like in this industry it's hard to manage relationships. You guys travel together, always have fun, dancing, laughing.
Yeah.
What is the key that you could tell? Because right now, like every time I turn on my phone, I feel like somebody's getting divorced. What is the key that you can tell people to like help keep your marriage together and sacred?
Yeah, that's you are so on point when you talk about the feeling of marriage is not lasting. And a lot of my friends, like a lot of your friends who are folks in the industry, haven't made it.
Yeah.
And this industry can be very tough. And part of the reason is what you and I were talking about before, which is that the public gaze, right? It's one thing if you're in a relationship with somebody, you having your issues and it stays in these four walls.
Yes.
These days, unfortunately, just like you have fans that feel like, oh, like I have a right to Crystal Renee and I want her to be the way that I want her to be all the time. People also feel that way about relationships. Well, when you have people who have built public personas largely based on interaction with fans, it's difficult to then say, all right, I'm going to take this part of my life and be private and not tell people that I'm dating,
right.
Because a lot of times people in the industry try to keep relationships private at first, but once you see them out at dinner and, cameras are flashing and you don't address it, then it's like, oh, they got to be, something's happened. It's very difficult to build a healthy relationship with that kind of a foundation. So for me, for sure, it definitely helped not being in front of the camera because everybody wasn't, clocking my every move. But what I will say is that then going forward, we have, like, our relationship, I say all the time, how you see us on Instagram is how we are in real life.
Literally.
And Instagram is just literally 10%. Like, my social media manager's like, give me more you and Heather content. People really like it. That's exactly how she talks. People really like it. Her name is Decca. Decca Ahmed. People really like you and Heather together. Give me more of that. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try. Give us an idea for something to do. Yeah. But for the most part, you have to catch it organically, because if we're doing it for the gram, then it feels like you're doing it for the gram. So, number one, we don't live our relationship on social media. Number two, you said that we go everywhere together. That's so true. And I will say this, and I definitely will say this to the guys that are watching this, is that the best thing that happens for me, number one, she literally is my best friend. Yeah. So I like to be with her and be around her. But also, Heather, even when I'm like, okay, I got to go somewhere and I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, or a week. I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm like, baby, you don't have to go if you don't want to. She always is like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'm going to go. Yeah. And it lets me give her a hard time. Like, you always want to go everywhere I go. But secretly, I'm like,
love it.
I love her being there. Yeah. And it just strengthens our relationship, because if you really like the person that you're with, then of course I want to be around her. Yeah. Because she actually strengthens me, makes me feel better. Now, she's not draining. There's some people in relationships that are draining, and you're like, I really need a break. Not just that we've been together forever break, but I need just a break from that person's energy. Yes. Well, that's a red flag, right? You want somebody who is actually filling you up and not draining you. So we are together a lot. And now that our kids are out of the house, because our youngest is in college. Yes. So now they're out of the house, we really are loving this phase. Because, I love my kids. I couldn't wait for them to get out the house. You tell them I said that. They know it. Whatever. I ain't ashamed. But it gives us so much more freedom at this stage in our lives. Whether you are in a relationship where you got young kids, older kids, travel a lot, don't travel a lot, what you really want to try to do is find those areas where you're both feeding each other. I've always said, when I keep her smiling, she keeps me smiling. Yeah. So my job is to make her happy, keep her smiling, because then she has everything that she needs to keep me smiling, keep me happy. Right. And she knows, especially in our relationship, like, I like to say she keeps me upright. She's like, okay, what do you need? I got to give it to you. Keep it upright, because you're giving this to the family and to us. But she can't give it to me if I'm not giving it to her. So whatever your dynamic or your relationship is, it needs to be that cycle, right? And the other thing I'll say is that, we kind of treat our relationship like The Crown. Did you watch The Crown?
I did,
at all? So the thing about The Crown is that no matter what was going on, they was gonna stay together.
Oh yeah,
right.
Listen,
and it was a mess. Now I'm not encouraging putting up with some craziness,
right?
But the mentality was, it's us. Like, that's not an option.
It was not
separating, divorce, and leaving is not an option. And I will give all props to Heather, because my parents were together, forever till my father passed. So I saw a relationship where it was like they stayed together. Yeah. So I definitely had that mentality. But I also am like most men, where, look, we'll shut down. Men are not as mature as y'all, and we would shut down and be like, all right, well, you know what? You burnt the toast and you got mad with me, so I guess how we splitting the kids? What you want to do? What we doing with custody? Toast. Like, dudes would just, we be ready to be out too
over
fast.
Anything, yeah.
What? And I can fall victim to that. But one thing I know is that my wife she ain't gonna let me go nowhere. Right. Right? Even when I'm on my immature silliness, she be right there. Like, well, you just gonna have to figure it out with me next to you. Yeah. And so I know that we don't have any other option or alternative, so we figure it out. Once you make it an option to end a relationship, then inevitably somebody's going to push the button. If there's a button of end it, somebody's going to push it.
Yeah.
But if there's no button at all, you know, and the last thing I'll say is, so two things that kind of movies that inspired The Crown, because it's like them people stayed together. Them crazy.
It was
monarch,
crazy.
royal folks, no matter what.
I was
it was like, that's not the option, so we got to figure it out.
Yeah.
The other thing is Game of Thrones. I don't know if you watched that show.
I did.
But
Listen, we got it.
You hit it.
Yes,
all right.
so good.
We connect. So Game of Thrones, you know, there's a concept in there about the White Walkers, these crazy zombie folks that were coming, and you had all these people that were fighting, these various kingdoms fighting, but some folks would always say the enemy is to the north.
Yes.
Like, we can fight all we want, but the true enemy is to the north.
Hello.
Heather and I say that when we get into something and it's an external pressure, either she or I will always say, listen, baby, the enemy's to the north.
I love that.
This ain't the enemy. You ain't the enemy. I ain't the enemy. The enemy is to the north. It's whatever happened with that external thing. And the same thing is true. So some of our celeb couples, the enemy is people on social media saying stuff, dropping stuff, trying to throw salt. They ain't got nothing better to do. That's the enemy to the north. Like, no, don't let that impact your relationship.
I love that. The enemy to the north.
That is, north. Yeah.
Y'all give it up for Will Packer dropping these nuggets. Yes. The people needed that because it's like every time it's like what people you least expect. You're like, wait, what?
I know.
What happened?
I know.
We need to hear that.
There's different pressures these days on folks. All folks. You don't have to be a celebrity. Somebody watching this right now trying to figure out how to make it through their marriage, you know? Try to remove the external pressures. Yeah. Try to keep it internal and try to figure out if you can solve it internally before you get it. Sometimes external can be a mom that's trying to do well, means well, giving advice. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They're not in your relationship. The best friend not in your relationship. The cousin not in your relationship. It's you and that person.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit, and I'm sure the audience wants to know too, a little bit about your journey and how you even got started.
Okay.
You know, they see Will Packer today, Will Power Packer today, but like, what was the beginning for you? It was
when I was at FAMU.
FAMU?
I was yes, absolutely. Shout out to the Rattlers, Florida A&M. And I did not, at the time when I first came to FAMU, being a filmmaker wasn't a dream of mine. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I didn't even want to go to FAMU, honestly.
Really? Where'd you want to go?
I wanted to go to the University of Pennsylvania because they are an Ivy League school with a very well-known business school, the Wharton School of Business. I knew I wanted to have my own business. That was very clear in my mind. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to be the boss. I wanted to be the CEO. And so I was going to business school, but I got this big scholarship to go to FAMU. But it was tied to engineering. And I knew I didn't want to be an engineer, but my math and science test scores and grades were very high. I've always been very good with that kind of analytical thinking. And my dad was an engineer. So I knew engineering, and I got a scholarship to be an engineer. I didn't want to be an engineer, but my parents were like, listen, we know you want to go to that Ivy League school. How much money are they giving you? I was like, well, they're not giving me any money, but I got in. They was like, how much money is FAMU giving you? I was like, well, they giving me everything. They were like, guess where you going to school?
I know, that's right.
So my parents made a decision for me. And it was the best decision made for me ever.
Wow.
And so I go to FAMU and I hook up with my lifelong friend and my line brother, because we're both alphas, the only fraternity that there is out there. Please make a note of that. And so he wanted to be a filmmaker. He very clearly knew he was inspired by Spike Lee and the Hughes brothers, the Hudlin brothers, like black filmmakers that had come before him. He knew he wanted to do that. It was very clear. And so I was really just kind of helping out my friend make a movie.
Wow.
And I helped him to raise the money to shoot the movie. And I helped him to shoot it. And then I helped him to self-distribute the movie. And that's how I got involved with it. We finished that little movie. It's called Chocolate City, set on FAMU's campus. Still to this day, it's the first movie shot by HBCU students at an HBCU to get national distribution. We shot our little movie and sent it out to Hollywood, and Hollywood couldn't care less. Them people did not return. We invited them to the world premiere of Chocolate City, and we would send it to the assistant with the hope of at least tell us you're not coming. At least give us an RSVP.
Something.
That's why I try to, my amazing executive assistant is here today. Chantal Hayslett, and I say, let's always respond. Let's reply.
Yeah,
people invite
that's
us
good.
to do something. Because them people did not reply, Crystal. Could have at least said no. The assistant couldn't say nothing.
Nobody can say nothing.
Nobody replied. Hollywood couldn't care less about that movie. Wow. However, at FAMU, it was a big deal. Amongst that crowd that we made it for and with, they really cared about that movie. And I realized, well, that's who I'm making my movies for. Not people who don't know me and don't care about me. But I'm making movies for a very core, specific audience.
Yes.
And that has served me well to this day. So that little movie, we came out, shot it, made a little money with it, and actually made a lot of money for broke college students. And that's when I said, I can do this. I've been looking for a business to start on my own. I helped raise the money, get the distribution. What is that called, what I did? And I looked it up and said, that's what a movie producer does. I said, well, I'm going to be a movie producer.
Wow.
That's what I'm going to be.
I know that's right.
And here I sit
and
on
you
the
did
couch
it.
with you.
The biggest movie producer, okay? Out here doing it.
Trying.
I love that.
Yeah.
So now you're Will Packer, like the Will Packer that everyone knows. And you've worked with Regina Hall, Idris Elba,
best.
Kevin Hart. You've done a lot of movies
Kevin
with them.
Hart. The rest are good. I made Kevin. A lot of people don't know that, but before Will Packer, Kevin just had a bunch of failed sitcoms. And it's just, you get credit where credit is due. I made Kevin Hart, so you can put that on the quote at the bottom of this podcast.
I made Kevin Hart.
Without me.
Period. But what was it that made you keep calling them? Because I can imagine they're a lot of fun to work with.
The best. They are. And I really enjoy working with folks, who I know and who I know are going to give me something. And that's not unique to me. Tyler does it. Look at you all's relationship. Look at like Martin Scorsese, how he keeps working with the same actors, Judd Apatow. The thing about those folks you named, Kev, Regina, Idris, I mean, first of all, they work hard. Yeah. I know that I'm going to get what I need from a work ethic standpoint. Because there's some amazing talents out there that it's not worth it to work with them. Yeah. I hate to say that, but that's just true. There are some folks, and it is just so much that comes with working with these people, and life is short. And so, that is something else that's just a little nugget that I'll put out there. Relationships. Hollywood is not the only relationship-driven business, right? Most industries, people work with the people that they like to work with. And so if all things are equal and you got a certain level of talent, somebody else got a certain level, but you hard to deal with, don't nobody like working with you, guess who's going to continuously get hired? And so I definitely have a great relationship with those folks because they always deliver for me. Yeah. I know what I'm going to get from them. And I was there at the start of Idris's theatrical career. He already had the Wire. So he's all these people are already amazing. You
made Idris too.
I helped, huh?
You made Idris too.
I can't say I made Idris. What I would say is that Idris has always wanted to be me. That's kind of the thing, because he's like, when I wake up in the morning, how can I be Will Packer? Like, you can kind of see whatever he does. He's like, how can I be Will? Like, it just whatever. That's not the point.
I see it. I totally.
Of course you do. Anything you like about Idris, you kind of look at me and it's like, oh,
that's Will Packer.
There's the original, and then there's somebody that's trying. But it's fine. I don't just besmirch my brother. Good luck, whatever. So with Driss, he was coming off the Wire, and his first theatrical movie was a little movie I made called The Gospel. And it was... Oh,
I used to love that movie.
You remember The Gospel?
Yolanda Adams was in it.
Yolanda. All my Gospel.
Victory.
Good Victory.
That was my movie.
Remember that song?
I didn't know that was you.
How about, do you know Snoop Dogg wanted that song, Victory? If you go back, I want everybody to hit pause for a second and play Victory on your Spotify, your Apple Music app, whatever. That song, you could also hear a hip-hop version of that song. And Yolanda got it, but Snoop wanted it because it's a dope track. So I got the Victory, Yolanda Adams. Anyway, we put that song in The Gospel, right? Kirk Franklin did the soundtrack.
Yes, so
Fred
good.
Hammond was in it. Donnie McClurkin,
yes, that
all
was a
the
good
OGs
movie.
of gospel. Yeah. And Idris played a Southern pastor. And Boris Kojo, Idris Elba, known again. It was a great cast. And it was because what happened was after I did Chocolate City, I then made a movie with Kenya Moore called Twa. And it was an erotic thriller.
I was not supposed to be watching Twa.
Don't put that frame face. Don't listen. The people know. The people know, okay? right?
I've been delivered.
Zatima was twining it up, wasn't she? She was. So I made this rock thriller called Twas. Some of y'all remember that. Mm-hmm. And then Hollywood will only let me do other Twas. I got pigeonholed for a hot second.
We want this.
So I did Twa 1, Twa 2, Twa 3, Pandora's Box. And my mom said, baby, now you know that, like, you grew up in the church. Stop playing. You grew up in the AME church, Bethlehem, down here in St. Pete, Florida. Give me something that I can take my missionary sisters to.
Right, because you're embarrassing me right now.
Well,
they can't watch
here's
this.
the other side of that story, Chris. She was taking her missionary sisters to see all my little Twa and rock thriller movies, and they weren't complaining.
They loved it?
All my mama's older church ladies was going to support all my little erotic thriller movies.
I bet they were.
First weekend. And so my mom was like, well, give us something else that we can go to, right? Because we don't have to sneak in the back. I said, I got you. And I had wanted to do a faith-based movie anyway.
Yeah.
So I made this movie, The Gospel, and that was Idris's first movie after The Wire. And that's the one that really kind of got, because, you know, everything is a stepping stone. You talked about you being on the set as an extra of Stomp the Yard too. I'm sure you had done other extra things. And then now you and I are working together, and you know, one of my main actors in that movie praised this. But it was steps to get there. It's always steps. So it took steps. I didn't go straight from, I want to be a filmmaker to Stomp the Yard, which was my first #1 movie. I went to the Twas, and then I went to The Gospel, and The Gospel was successful, and that opened the door to allow me to make Stomp the Yard.
Wow.
So a lot of times today, it feels like people just want to get right to it. I want to skip the steps. I want to be just successful immediately.
That's it.
We live in a society of immediate gratification. We live in a society where you do have some people that, you know, come up with a tech idea, and somebody you read and somebody bought it for $1 billion. It's like, well, I want that.
Yeah.
I just want to go and get straight to being a billionaire. Be a thousandaire.
Hello.
For a little while. Like, hold on.
Learn how to manage that first.
Absolutely. Because I look back, honestly, Chris, and I look at things that I got told no, like movies that I was trying to pitch and get made, and I got told no, and it was the best thing ever. Because if I had gotten the budget for that movie early and I didn't know what I was doing, like I know now, I'd have messed it up.
Yep.
And now I'd have been the guy that wasted that $5 million.
Yeah.
Now I would never get a $10 million movie, you know? So I worked, and I had that first movie was $20,000. The next movie was $200,000. The next movie, like, I didn't get to $1 million budgets till later in my career.
Yeah.
But by then I knew everything about it, what I was doing, knew how to work all the positions on a set. And so I was ready for it. So sometimes God is saving you for things you're not ready for, and you don't even know it. It feels like rejection. It feels like failure, but it's growth.
Ooh, that's good.
Yes. That was a bar.
That was a bar and a sermon all in one.
Take off the Will made Kevin Hart and put that quote under the thing. And then in parenthetical, Will also made Kevin Hart and Idris Elba wants to be him. So I'm just trying to tell you how to market this episode.
I love it. I love it. You talked about your parents basically making the decision for you to go to FAMU.
They did.
And I heard that recently they named their performing arts amphitheater after you.
Crazy.
How crazy.
Crazy. Let me tell you something. If I would do nothing else in my life, I got a building with my name on it, so
Period.
I'm good. So y'all need to figure out what y'all doing, because I'm straight. I don't have another little hit movie, TV show, nothing. No, it's amazing. It's crazy because that school means so much to me.
We know you, like when I say you yell FAMU to the mountaintops, like
I do.
You love it. If anybody don't
It's
even
annoying,
know anything,
no,
it's not
too
annoying.
much.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
All right. We weren't gonna be friends if you. FAMU people get on your nerves. HBCU people in general, and I can say it because I'm one of them. We would get. Look, why you not? The cinematographer is back there like, yeah, they get on your nerves. We will. I ain't gonna even lie. We love our little schools, represent them. They'd be like, okay, enough. We get it.
It's the pride. I love it.
It is the pride. It gets ingrained in you doing those 4-5 years, the best years of your life.
Yeah.
FAMU meant so much to me. It's where I really kind of found myself, found my voice, honed so many of my skills that I use to this day.
Yeah.
So yeah, to have my name, on a building at my alma mater is everything. It's
I
very
love
cool.
that. That's amazing. Now, do you get to go? I know you're always there. Do you have some kids? Is any of your kids at the FAMU?
Let me tell you something about my folks, little ungrateful children. Okay, tell you about these children. I fed them. I gave them their little privilege. sales. Started to cuss, but I don't want to do that because we got sponsors on this podcast. And none of my kids, my kids are all amazing. Mm-hmm. They all are. Harvard.
Whoa.
Howard. North Carolina A&T.
Yes.
And now USC.
I know. Wow.
But ain't none of them go to FAMU, Crystal.
Right, that's the problem.
Not one went to FAMU.
Not one was like, I got you, Dad.
All these talents supported them and everything.
Right.
I feel like, honestly, my kids didn't really want to be Will Packer's kid at FAMU.
That's a lot. It's big shoes to fill.
I guess in theory it would have been a lot of eyes on them. But, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm still just it stings a little bit.
I can imagine.
But I've always given them the grace and the freedom to be like, be whatever you want to be. You don't have to be in daddy's industry. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go to daddy's alma mater. You do whatever you want. Find it on your own. Mm-hmm. And they're finding it. That's all right. I got family to myself. I love it. There you go. I love my family.
I love it. Yes, that's amazing. Congratulations on that. That is huge. Because a lot of people can't say they have their name on a building at their alma mater.
That's true. No, most people can't.
No,
I don't take it for granted. Really, sincerely.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Did you go to college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went to. My parents went to TSU.
Oh, okay.
So I know all about the HBCUs.
You know about that annoying parents telling you about it all the time. Well, I wanted to go too. Because I want to go to TSU.
Yeah, I grew up going to homecoming every year.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with the school, the energy. So in high school, I was dating a guy who was like 2 years older than me.
Okay.
He ended up going to TSU. So when it was time for me to graduate, my parents made the choice for me not to go.
But you ain't following him?
You ain't going.
Was it because of him or just?
Oh, they were like, yeah, you're not going there.
Really?
Yeah. They liked him, but they just did not want us like out of town.
They didn't trust that?
They didn't trust that. They was like, nah.
So where'd you go?
I went to the University of Tennessee at Martin in my hometown. Yeah.
Okay, they wanted you close?
Yeah.
Did you want to be close or were you like trying to get out?
I was trying to go. But
really?
then when they got me because they told me I couldn't take my car with me my freshman year. And as a kid, I'm 18 years old. I'm like, what am I going to do without my car?
You didn't need that car.
I did not need my car. I should have left.
Your parents were right.
Yeah, but I stayed so I could keep my car.
So you can keep your car. So you put the car over. And is he still alive? I hope.
He's alive, and I guess he's well.
Oh, okay, cool. So that was in the. Tell you something interesting. Mm-hmm. My wife, your cousin Heather, also wanted to go to TSU. Mm-hmm. She wanted to go to HBCU too. Yes. And her parents was like, "No, you're not."
See, I think it's a Hayslett thing.
They was like, no. "You ain't ready for that. You gonna be up there partying." And knowing my wife, they was probably right. Yeah. She probably needed to go, so she went to like UT Chat and then went to Christian Brothers.
See,
So
perfect. That is fun.
Y'all ended up exactly where y'all was supposed to be.
We did.
Cause FAMU ain't for everybody. HBCU life ain't for everybody.
Yeah, I know I would have been wilding. I was wilding on UT Martin campus. Right. I know if I went to TSU,
it'd have been over.
Right. A wrap.
Yeah. You might have had a building named after you for the wrong reason. Right. This is where Crystal was turned up in here.
Right.
The Crystal Renee building, y'all. Every Friday night she was partying.
Listen, couldn't wait. That was me. Freshman year, I had a good time. 'Cause I was very sheltered growing up.
Okay.
So when I went to college, I was like, finally,
I got
freedom. Yeah.
We all did. That's all of us.
Yeah.
Part of that is the growth. Part of that's what college is all about.
It really is. Yeah.
Except for my kids. I'm watching y'all. Okay. I need y'all not be doing whatever I did.
We got our eye on you. Yeah. We're watching y'all. Harvard, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
my oldest went to Harvard. Kids. Yeah, he did.
USC.
Yeah.
North Carolina A&T.
Yeah,
and,
great. They all ended up at great schools. I'm very, very fortunate, very blessed. Because parenting is tricky these days.
It is.
It's very different raising kids with the pressures that they have today than we were under. Not that we were not under pressure,
right?
But we didn't have, the options, the words to verbalize what we were feeling, the eyes of the world via social media on us. Like there were a lot of things that were just different in the way that we grew up and the way kids are growing up today. And some of it is much easier, much more access, much they have power and agency that we didn't have. But some of it, the pressure is crazy. Like if there was literally a camera around everywhere that we went when we were growing up, like them freshman years of college that you and I had, if everything was on a phone, like, bruh.
Thank you, Lord.
Stop playing. Exactly. Exactly. So, it's different. But I'm very fortunate. My kids are doing great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Something a lot of people may or may not know, you were the first African American to lead production for the Oscars.
Yeah.
What was that like coming out of COVID? Because you guys, that was like the first time people could actually be back. Was that one of the first?
No, it was. It was. Yeah. The year before us, it was a much more limited. So my Oscars was 2022, right? And then obviously COVID was 2020, and so the 2021 year was a much smaller. So this was the first time that we had like everybody back in the Oscars.
What was that whole process like? Were you nervous? Were you like, oh my gosh, this is the Oscars?
I wasn't nervous. Wasn't the word I would use, but it was, first of all, it was a very long process, right? You know, people think the Oscars is one night, which it is, but literally there's 6, 7, 8 months of work that lead up to that one night. There's so much that goes into it because it's such a big show, right? It's a, multi-hour show. People from all over the world are watching. You have all of Hollywood has an opinion about the show, what it should be, what it shouldn't be, because the show has become, something of a lightning rod. And so I definitely felt pressure, but I was excited, honestly. I was excited. It was more work than I thought. So even though I thought it would be like producing a movie. It was like producing 10 movies at one time. Whoa. It was that level. Now, I had a full team of people, but it was a lot producing that Oscar. I'm not going to lie to you.
Crazy.
Yeah.
10 movies. I couldn't imagine, getting ready for one is a lot.
There's so much going on. It's so, you got the musical performances, you got the presenters. Like, people think, it's an award show. It's not. Because I'm literally flying people in from all over the world to do this show. The music, pieces are like their own thing. Yeah. You always have tributes. My year, I had tributes to, big anniversaries that were happening within the industry. That's just a whole nother thing in and of itself. Like we did a tribute to James Bond, right? And so just even getting all the clearances necessary to do that, getting the right people to present it. It was I think it was the 50th anniversary of The Godfather.
That was a huge year.
It was, that was big, and getting the folks that were involved with The Godfather on board. It was just a lot. And of course, my year, because we were the first black all-producing team, I was going to be diverse. My Oscars was just going to, it was going to have flavor. It just was.
It did.
So whether it was the black conductor, D-Nice DJing, the trophy presenters from HBCUs, we really went above and beyond to make sure that it was a very diverse Oscars. And it was. It was.
Yeah. I love that. So, I had to ask you.
I was going to say, is that we're going to stop on the Oscar talk, or you just going to keep going?
We're going to keep going.
Sip this Fiji and let you
I'll let you get a little sip of water.
Ask me anything. What you want to know?
Were you backstage the whole time? So
I'm literally right by the, what is staged right. So I am, as presenters are going on and coming off, they're right next to me. We have a producer station. I got all the monitors for every camera. I'm on the headphones talking to the whole crew about what's going on, talking to my director, listening to what's happening. And I'm also greeting people as they go on and off the stage, right? So, Chris Rock was going on to do his thing. My God, you ready? Let's go. Go do your thing, baby, because
excited.
We had rehearsed the show a bunch of times. We knew everything was going to happen. So, I dapped him up. He went on stage, and that's all I remember about that night.
That's all you remember?
Did something happen?
Something happened, all right. I just want to know.
Can I tell you something interesting? Serious business, because you asked about it being the first time that everybody was kind of all back, because we were in it's called the Kodak Theater, not Adobe Theater now, but it's where the Oscars are held. Yeah. And it was the first time we were back in that venue since COVID. And we had an idea to make the stage feel like it wasn't up so high like it normally is. Because normally in like most concert venues, the stage is kind of raised and the people
was low,
seat in the front are lower. And we wanted it to feel like almost like a lounge club atmosphere. And so we had the traditional seats in the back of the theater, but in the area right around the stage, there were loungy banquette type seating, and the stage was lowered.
Yeah.
And so everybody was kind of on the same level, and it was to make it feel that way, look that way, and also so like when people would come up from their seats to accept their awards, they could just walk right to the stage, not have to walk around the wings and climb up high. Like we wanted that feel and that energy. Now that did something very interesting.
It did. I mean,
it created
real easy
this feeling of being right there.
Right there.
Like you could just go out, like reach out and touch somebody on that
Literally.
stage.
Reach out and touch somebody.
So yeah, part of everything that happened that night was because we had changed that stage design. You know, after the fact, you think about all the stuff that went wrong and that you could, like, if I hadn't had him in that
right
moment, you know.
Yeah.
And then me, you know, because the ratings it was the first time in years that the ratings increased, but it had nothing to do with the slap.
Yeah.
Because the slap happened too late in the show to affect the ratings.
Right.
The slap was in, like, you know, 4th or 5th act of the show.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, if I'd known this, I'd have put Chris up front. Because if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down with these ratings.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? If it's going to happen,
might as well
bump it. Like, let's go. Yeah. But
what did you say, like, when you saw it and they're like, what, were you like, oh my God, what just happened?
No, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was something
I did too at first. I was like, oh, I thought y'all scripted that in the show at first.
I thought it was, because remember, because it's such a big show and it's live, you literally run through the rehearsals of the actual show and everything that's going to happen like 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
Like you literally run through the whole show. You got to get your timing right. Because it's a live show. So we had rehearsed everything. Chris had gone up and rehearsed his jokes. And when he came up, he immediately was off book. But if there's anybody in the world that you're not worried about going off book, it's Rock.
Chris Rock, yeah.
Chris Rock. You know he's going to do his thing. It's going to be funny. And so the first time that I, you know, knew something was that I got a little nervous. I got a little bubbly in my stomach was when he made the joke and, you know, we cut to Jada because that's what you do,
Absolutely,
right? That's just, you know, it's like a tennis match. You just getting, you know, Crystal says somebody's name, you go that person's name. That person, you go back. Like you just, that's what you do. So we didn't know this joke was coming, but we knew where everybody was positioned in the audience. You know exactly where everybody's sitting, and you have to be ready to move on the fly.
Yes.
So he made a Jada joke. We go to Jada.
Absolutely.
So Jada's reaction was the first time that I was like, ooh, that joke ain't land. Right?
Yeah, because she was like...
And you know this because you do comedy. You're a professional. Like, comedy is reactions. If you and I are here and we're filming us and I tell a joke, the laugh actually comes when you react or when other people react, right? When you're editing a comedy movie for the young filmmakers out there, it's all about the reaction.
Yes.
So he told the joke, and then the reaction tells the audience how to feel about the joke. And the reaction clearly was that it was not funny to the person who was the subject of the joke. And so that's the first time I was like, ooh, get off her. Go off of there. Like go somewhere else. Like that.
Did he have an earpiece in? You were like, Chris, abort mission.
No earpiece. He was just out there. He was just outside.
Butt naked.
No butt booty. No. I could not talk to this man. Nothing. But he told it, and then we went to her. She clearly did not find it funny. And so it was like, all right, let's keep going. Like that was awkward, but cringe moment, but keep going.
Yeah.
When we went on stage, we thought this was part of something they had done. Because it's not unheard of that people go off script or that, you know, these are actors in Hollywood.
Right.
They do all kind of little stuff that they think is cool and funny. And sure enough, it happened. And the first question I said to the director in the microphone was, did he hit him?
Right.
Like, did he actually, like, what?
Did that just happen?
And then I was like, oh, y'all got to clean this up. Like, quick. Like, that ain't that funny. So, forget the other joke that was cringy. This is really cringy. Like, whatever y'all are planning, get to the punchline.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally thinking that Chris and Will have planned something. And it was not, I'll be honest with you, the whole thing happened. We had, you know, Will say what he said, keep my wife's name out, you know, everybody's seen it now.
Yeah.
And I've had people say, why did you show that? But again, I didn't have anywhere to cut to, right? Like in the moment, first of all, everybody's faces in that audience was worse. Like the people,
you
like
didn't
you
wanna
wanted
go
me to go to Gwyneth Paltrow, and she was like, like what do you want me to cut? That was the whole audience.
Right.
It was 7,000 people in there, like what
just happened?
what? So I didn't have nothing to. I would have had to cut to
the
Hollywood sign, right? Like outside the building. So
right.
you cut to Will because you know that you're just following the action. It's just going according to normal procedure.
Yeah.
Once he said what he said, it was like, okay,
this is not a joke. Yeah.
Oh, it's real. And then when Chris got off stage, I was the first person to talk to him.
Yeah.
You know, Questlove. Shout out to Quest. He
Love
won.
Quest.
No one remembers, but he won.
Love him.
He got off stage, and the first thing I said, "Did he hit you?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Did he really hit you?" And Chris goes, "Yeah. I just took a punch from Muhammad Ali." Like he was joking immediately. He was automatically.
Chris.
He immediately told the joke. So then Chris and I go off and backstage, and I took him into my office. He went into my office backstage, right off the stage. Everybody's still aghast. Yeah. By the way, the reason it truly went viral so immediately is because there was a feed in I think Australia that they did not bleep out what Will said. Oh. So because what happens is in LA we're sending a feed out to all the domestic, the US ABC affiliates, but you're sending it out to the world and all the affiliates that are picking it up.
Yeah.
And they have different censors in each country is responsible for their own censors. And so I think it was Australia, in that feed they didn't edit out what he said, so you could hear it all clearly. And so that's the clip that went out on the internet. So it really went super viral
fast.
In the moment, fast. And my phone exploded.
Oh, I know it did.
I'm back. I'm literally, by the way, as it's happening, before Chris got off the stage, my phone just started smoking. Like it was just like everybody, like my mom was like, "Baby, that ain't funny." Like, thanks, Ma. Appreciate you. Like I'm in a disaster right now.
Thanks, Mom.
Baby, that ain't funny. By the way, when you coming home again? Like my mama, that's what she'll do. She definitely is to text something irrelevant in the wrong moment.
Right. That is so funny.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mama. You got me.
Shout out.
You gotta love it.
Yeah.
Wow. I always wondered what that was like
Crazy.
in the moment, behind the scenes.
Crazy. We thought it was a joke. We all thought it was a bad joke. And then it wasn't. And then it was like, oh my gosh. And then I just had this sinking feeling like, not tonight.
Right.
That's what I felt.
Wow.
Of all the nights. And it had been going so well.
Yes.
And I still am very, very proud of that show.
Oh,
everything
amazing.
about
you
that show
be.
I'm very proud of. You know, my amazing ladies with their hosting job, they were doing great. I'm still proud of it. Yeah. Everything had been going pretty much according to plan. And I just remember having a sinking feeling of, why tonight? Why? Not like this. Yeah. That's what I was saying, like, not like this.
Yeah.
Let something else happen. Let the wrong envelope get read, or somebody trip walking up the like, not like this.
Yeah.
Don't let this be the legacy of my little show. But
it wasn't. That was not what kind of?
All right. I'm all right. I now have, I'm at peace.
Good.
I've connected with all involved, and I'm at peace, and I've moved on.
I love that.
Yeah.
I dressed Chris Rock. He was in, what movie was that? He did a movie for Tyler, and when I say he was one of the most kind, gentle spirits I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
I had his wardrobe pulled out, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Rock." He's like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "Well, these are the options." He goes, "Okay, whatever you need." And I was like, "I'll step out so you can change." Okay. And then I would say, "Thank you." Like, "My pleasure." Like, so nice. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, and then to see that happen, and I love Will too, and like have such a high regard for him. Yeah. Still love, you know what I'm saying, both of them. People are human. I just feel like that was one of them days where how I had that moment where I got time today. He just had time, you know.
What I will say, and we can leave it alone, is that the pressures of, as you know, the pressures of folks on folks in our industry is unbelievable. It is. If you're not in the industry and you don't know what it's like to constantly have eyeballs on you, constantly have somebody analyzing every word that you say, and you don't, we don't give grace for mistakes now. Yes. You got to be perfect all the time.
And nobody is.
There's it takes an unbelievable toll and strain on people. So that's what I will say. And I just am somebody that believes we have to evaluate people for who they've been,
yes,
for a lifetime, for decades,
yes,
not on a really, really bad moment.
Just a moment.
And that goes for anybody.
I love
right?
it.
Everybody makes mistakes. And so it is unbelievably difficult to be in the public eye these days. And there's going to be people who say, do, and act the wrong way constantly. It will continue.
Yeah.
Let's judge people on who they've shown us to be for the vast majority of their lives or careers or what have you, and not just on their absolute worst moment.
I love that. And you know, Will, I think that's the perfect note to end on.
There we go.
I literally love that. That's great. Give people grace.
Give people grace. We all deserve it.
Yes.
Everybody. And give yourself grace. You deserve a little bit too.
I try
We're
to
so
tell
hard on
them that.
ourselves now.
We are.
Right? Give yourself a little grace.
Yeah, that
you're
is
okay.
so true.
Keep it positive, sweetie.
Keep it positive, sweetie.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, so we're about to end the show. What we do is positive outcomes, where our listeners write in a letter and we give them advice.
Okay.
So I'm going to read it off, and we're going to see what we can tell her.
Okay.
She goes, "Hi, Crystal. Let me start by saying I absolutely love your podcast. I've been with my husband for 21 years. I know him as a go-getter and a provider. For the past 8.5 years, we've been going through it financially. I can see that he is frustrated and very down about his business not flourishing the way he wanted it to. I try my best to help him and be positive in a safe space, but when I try to suggest jobs that are hiring, he brushes me off and gets very defensive. I've always been by his side through thick and thin, without judgment or pressure. We have a family to provide and care for, which requires steady paychecks, which is why I try to help him find other jobs so that we can take care of the family that we made together. How can I get my point across to him without making him feel less of a man?" And I think, being that you are a man, I feel like you may be able to speak from that man standpoint.
I have a strong opinion. I feel like you should go first on this one.
Okay, all right.
Because she doesn't say what he does. It feels like it was entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Like he was working for himself.
It's not, his business isn't flourishing the way he wanted it to. So it has to be entrepreneurial.
And we think she works based on this letter. All right. What's your 2 cents?
I would tell her, one, I mean, you have a family, so he has to figure it out, but there is a way to be that safe space for your man, to not put him down when he's not doing well. But also, if he's a go-getter and a provider, he should already have that mentality, like, I got to do what I got to do. You shouldn't have to, like, all right, baby, you need to go find something else to do so we can eat this week. I feel like as a man, he should be trying to figure it out. And if it means going to do something that he doesn't want to do, because I can attest to me doing jobs that I didn't want to do to get where I wanted to be. Yep. So I feel like that would be a thing that he needs to swallow his pride. And but there is a way to do it without making your man feel less than.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. I'm gonna give you a different perspective.
Yes, that's all I want. Okay.
I think that you are absolutely right in that we're talking about a family, and his job is to provide. And so ultimately it is on him, right? I believe in that. I believe that, and it doesn't have to just be the man, but I believe that there is a head of a household whose job it is to provide. And it definitely sounds like in this situation, he is assuming that role. At least he wants to. So yes, and I am somebody that believes that, brother, you got to do what you got to do for your family, period, point blank. Now, here's what I want you to hear, my sister, and you too, Crystal, and all my other sisters. You cannot believe how unbelievably painful it is for that black man to be failing in his family's eyes and in his own eyes. So whatever you're saying to him, she's been with him 21 years. She's referencing the last 8. So I have to assume that he's a good brother. He ain't just a somebody that ain't ish, right? He's somebody that has provided before, and now the business is not working out.
Right.
He is being harder on himself than you could ever be on him. And so when you say, hey, here's this job, it compounds his feeling of failure and insecurity, and he feels like, not only am I finding it hard to believe in myself, but you don't believe in me. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong in doing that, sister. What I'm saying is, for him, all he hears is, you don't believe in me. You telling me to give up on my dream and do this other thing. That underlines that I'm failing, that I'm not doing what I'm doing, which I'm beating myself up about all the time. I am waking up, after you go to sleep every night, I'm looking at the ceiling and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, right? So what I would say is that number one, you got to understand that he's in pain and he's hurting because there's nothing more difficult for a man who considers himself the head of a household to not be providing in the way that he wants to. Doesn't mean it's not his responsibility, but your role is not. This is where I differ. Your role is not to say, here's a great job. He can find that job. He got the same newspaper and Craigslist and Google job. That ain't, I appreciate that effort. Yeah. But that's not it. In this, y'all been together 21 years. I just want you to be right there with him and ride with him. That's what I want. I want you to say, okay, this is the budget for the month, and we are, $5,000 short. I got my $2,000 on it. I believe in you. You are my man. You're the head of the household. I love you. You tell me what we're doing with the other three. You just tell me. And I'm like, you're trying to be helpful, but you're exacerbating and compounding his already awful feeling of insecurity and not providing by saying, here you go, here go these jobs. And I know your intention was good, so I'm not attacking the sister at all. But just from a man, if he's the type of man that a lot of men are, he is already at his lowest point. And so what you say is, this is where we're short. This is what I'm like. You tell me. But I believe in you. I believe in you. We're going to get past this. The business is going to turn around. All of that. I believe in you. If you decide to get another job, I'm backing you on another job. If you can figure it out here, I'm backing you with that. I'm backing you. Period. Point blank. I'm backing. Tell me what you need. Do you want me to go help? Do you want me to help look for jobs? You don't. Like, whatever. Like, say that. Because when you lead a little job listens around, you email him because it's like, this Negro need to get to work. Like, and I don't even know. That could be a nice white lady. I don't know. But whatever it is, you are unintentionally reminding him of his shortcomings and failure and making him feel like you don't believe in him.
Oh, that's so
good. That's my opinion, maybe unpopular, but I would say just be there for him. It ain't your job to get him the new job. Your job is just be there, support your man, and say, listen, this is what we need. Now, I'm not saying sit there and starve with your kids,
right?
But just say, hey, this is what we need. You tell me how you're gonna do it. You tell me how we're gonna get it, and I believe in you. And I don't mean like tell me what you're gonna do. That's where we short. I don't mean that. Right. I just mean like, hey, I'm here with you. So this is the budget, and this is what I got on it, and you just tell me how I can help. Can I help in any way with what you're trying to do? That's what I would say.
That's good. You just, okay. I like that perspective.
I've been a black man my whole life.
Yes, I love that.
I'm going to get good at it one day.
Teach us. Oh my gosh.
But it's good. Sisters and brothers, we need to be having these conversations. We need to have a dialogue. We need to talk through these things.
Then we can help each other,
100%.
Yep, I love that.
I see too much, like, vitriol amongst, folks online. You know what I'm saying? Within the same community, within the same gender, within the same orientation. Like, it's a lot of negativity. You know what I'm saying? We in it together.
We are.
We in it together. Like, let's talk it through.
Together,
Let's talk about it. Like I said, I'm not attacking that sister. She did it, the way she wanted to. I'm just giving you another opinion from a man's and an entrepreneur, whose life hasn't always gone the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So I'm not attacking this sister at all. Like, he needs you. He's only at where he's at cussing you. But now he needs something different.
Yeah.
He doesn't need, like, this is a job that's hiring. That ain't what he needs right now. He just needs you to support him and believe in him. And then you allow him to tell you how he's going to turn it around.
I love that.
All right.
I'm taking notes myself. So the next thing we do is what I'm going through and what I'm growing through. And I'll start off.
Okay.
Right now, what am I going through? I am going through I feel like this is a stretching phase for me in my life. This season I am in, I feel like God is stretching my faith. I'm trying different things as far as business ventures that I don't know are going to succeed. So I'm really like stepping out on faith in different areas and growing through having control of everything because I'm such a control freak. I like to know what's going to happen. Okay, this is the variable that I know for sure. And just being open to the possibilities of things that are unknown to me. So that's what I'm going through.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I should have practiced this part. You didn't tell me you was going to be asked this. Okay. All right. So I would say I'm going through a new phase in my life where now my kids are out of the house.
Yeah.
And so it's a different dynamic for my wife and I, and also a different relationship for myself and my kids because they my babies.
Yeah.
But they're now all young adults. And so it means that we're redefining our relationships. We're recalibrating our relationships in a different way than we have before.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing amount of freedom that my wife and I have, but we also get to know each other in different ways. Because as a parent, you're always constantly sacrificing for your kids. Now I don't have that excuse anymore. Now it's her and I. So we're getting to know each other in a different way. And I'm getting to know my kids. And I have to accept them as young adults. And they also have to accept me as a father that's not just like, their primary caregiver. I am somebody that is, more of a friend, honestly. So that's different. So that's what I'm going through. What I'm growing through is my own career and the next phase of my career. As of the recording of this podcast, we are still in the middle of a strike.
Yeah.
And hopefully that would be, over by the time this comes out. But
Please,
regardless, it's a different phase in my personal career. And I'm also looking to diversify myself, my focus, my ambitions, and my aims. And so I'm growing through that, right? I have to, I've been very, very fortunate. I'm very blessed, the strike hit everybody differently. So I'm very fortunate in how I've been able to weather the strike.
Yes.
But it also shows me, though, that I need to be in a position where I have a diverse array of things that I'm doing.
Same.
Yeah.
And that's what the business ventures are, because I realize I can't put all my eggs in this acting basket.
Yeah, because you never know.
You never know. I want things like this to happen. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I have other things going on. This is not the end all be all.
So what you gonna sell on Instagram? Waist trainers?
No, I need to wear one.
What we doing?
No, I can't tell you. I'll tell you.
Bathing suits?
No.
It's bathing suits, weave, and waist trainers. Now, I don't know the Instagram market as well as some people, but in my exploit, that's what I see.
That's what you see.
That's what I see people selling is hair, is waist. They still doing waist trainers.
Still doing waist trainers. Y'all
and
know
then
them things
bathing
ain't
suits,
working.
I feel like everybody got a swim line.
Everybody.
But,
I'm
what
not
do I
doing
know?
none of those.
All right, so we're going to do something different.
Yeah, something different, yeah.
I feel like we should pitch Crystal Renee businesses. Y'all call in and write and say, what should she be selling to diversify? I feel like you got something, though. I feel like whatever it is.
I'm excited.
Candles.
No.
Prayer candles. But they smell like feet. So then, because that'll make you want to pray. If you don't, you got to get your prayer in.
Smell like Jesus' feet.
That feet going to keep burning. Listen, I'm not going to talk about Jesus' feet. I feel like,
them.
Yeah, you got to watch.
You got to get on prayer.
How about that?
With her hair dry, with her hair.
You know?
They said in the Bible.
Uber for dogs. Take people, animals. See, y'all laughing.
I don't even like dogs like that.
When I go on Shark Tank, you don't get no percentage because you hate my idea.
Okay.
Uber for dogs. When you got to get your dog somewhere,
let's do it. I'm with
take
you.
it to the park and somebody picks them up.
Oh, that's actually genius.
I'm just saying. I haven't thought it through because
we already got this
trademark.
You guys can't take this idea.
Let the dog out. We need to figure
Somebody
out what
needs to be there to
the
get
side.
the dog.
Yeah.
I guess the driver could be like.
Now, there is a thing. I have a friend, has somebody who works for my company, and their dog gets picked up for grooming. There is a doggy bus.
Okay.
And they come and pick up your dog.
You are kidding me.
I promise you. And it's a bus with all these dogs in it, the way it's been described to me, and takes them to the groom and then drops them back off. That's pretty good.
I'm done. Not a doggy.
Just saying.
That's smart though.
Just saying.
Because we don't have time.
Anything that helps people with their time, that's the.
That's
all right, those are my ideas, Chris. That's all I got. I'm just giving them to you.
You are giving to me. I appreciate that. Mental notes.
Think about the feet candles. See, a lot of people, they got candles that smell like everything.
What does that smell?
Well, you know what? Those are my feet. And so welcome.
I got my feet scented. Will, thank you so much.
This was awesome. Come on, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so another thing we do is keep it blank, sweetie.
Okay.
And for this episode, I'm going to say, we talked about so much. Keep it faithful, sweetie. I know like what I'm going through right now is definitely stretching my face, so keep it faithful, sweetie, is what I would say. Yeah.
I like that. So my first answer, keep it crusty, probably is not the same energy that you did. So
like the feet.
I feel like yours is more inspirational, so I'm going to go. All right, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say keep it consistent, sweetie. That's what I'm going to say. A lot of us have challenge with consistency, right? It's not about just being good in some areas and not in others. It's not about us being following through one time. You got to follow through every time. Keep it consistent. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
So as you're keeping it positive, as you're keeping it prayerful, faithful. Also keep it consistent. Try to stay consistent. That will bode well for you.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. That's good. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Keep It Positive, Sweetie. If you want to write into our Positive Outcomes listener letter, write into keepitpositivesweetie@gmail.com, and that's sweetie with an IE. You can follow me on Instagram and all the platforms at LUV Crystal Renee. Will, tell them where the people can find you.
Usually on the corner of, Will Power Packer. At Will Power Packer on all the platforms.
There we go. All right. Will, thank you.
Anytime, Mama.
I appreciate
it.
This was
Thanks
fun.
For having me. This was good.